All right, I think we're going. Let me check. All right, so let me click share. All right. So this morning I sent out this email, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to build an electronic portfolio from scratch using Mobirise, and then I'm going to deploy it to GitHub Pages. That is basically all I'm going to do today. What I'm going to ask all of you to do for tomorrow is to read chapter 20 of the book. It's how to use Entity Frame Core. All right. It is fairly complex because you've got to go in the way that they've set it up with Visual Studio. It's just kind of, I can't think of the right word for it, but it's much harder, I think, than it has to be the way that the steps that they make you go through. So we're going to do that tomorrow, and we're going to go through it very slowly. All right. What do I mean by that? Let's see if we even finish the chapter in a period. All right. And if we do, great. And if we don't, fine. All right. Let's assume that we do. Then what I'm going to do on Wednesday is I am going to go over, let's see, where is it? I just want to show this to you. Well, I want to go through the extra exercises with you for chapter 20, and we'll do that then probably on Wednesday. All right, just so you know. Now, as it says here, and I can't grant, I don't mean you, but everybody else, I will expect that you have read the chapter before we go over it. Otherwise, I can just tell you right now, it's going to be very hard for you to understand the material in it. All right. So with all that said, then let's go on. Now I've got a couple, I went out to YouTube here and I literally keyed in Mobirise 2022, and you can see there's a lot of hits. All right, I'm not going to go through any of these. I will tell you that what I used to use in here is there was a series of videos, I think probably about 6 or 7 videos by a guy named Brian Heitkamp. And I used to go over all of those. In fact, I did video presentations on his video presentations. But the thing is, that stuff now is probably about 4 or 5 years old. So it's so outdated that it may do more harm than good to go through that. Now, when you look at these, for instance, here's one 2.4K views 8 months ago, 1.1K views 6 months ago. Here's one with 18K views, but it's a year old. So I don't know which of these might be better than any of the other ones. I really and truly don't know. I mean, notice here's one 46 views from 7 months ago. So probably either people didn't like it or whatever. All right. But here's one, but that's 6 years ago. All right. So like I said, some of these are going to be really good probably, and some of them are not. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to totally start from scratch, because when I did go run through this the other day, I did it kind of quickly. Now, I'm not going to go back and reinstall this, but just so you know, when you go out to mobirise.com right here, and my guess is you're all using a Windows machine, you're just going to click this. All right. And then when it comes up, you're just going to accept all the defaults. And that should be all you have to do to download it. There's nothing special that you have to do. Now, I want to mention one of the things about Mobirise that's not that good. And that is, it's going to go in and it's going to create a lot of stuff for you. And much of the stuff that it creates, you cannot change. All right. And what I mean is some of the colors, some of the fonts, some of the whatever. And notice if you look up here in the upper right hand corner, it says go premium, save huge. I'm not recommending you do that. But notice that if you want to be able to go in and do more things with that, then it costs you 150 bucks. I am not at all recommending that you do this. All I'm saying is if you ever wanted to go back in and do a lot more intricate work and be able to jack with the CSS that gets created, this is what you'd have to do. That's all I'm going to say about it. All right. So with that said, then I'm going to come up and I'm going to start Mobirise. And I think I showed this much last time, but I want to make sure. So whoops, there we go. When you bring it up, it looks, yours won't look like mine will because I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I've created already. All right. So if I come up here and I click where you, whoops, where you see that the hamburger menu here, the 3 dashes, and I click sites and then create new site. That's what you're going to want to do. All right. I want to say that again because I want to make sure everybody gets it. So you'll want to come up and there'll be this hamburger menu in the upper left-hand corner with looks like 3 lines that go through it. And if you put your mouse there and you go to sites and you click on there, you should have create a new site or import Mobirise site. You want to just click that. And then it comes up, and this has changed since the last time I had done it. All right. And what I mean is you used to not get really any of this stuff. It just came up and it looked like this. All right. Now, I had suggested, and I still would suggest, that you use like the portfolio theme. If you don't want to use that, you can use any theme that's in here. So for instance, if you like this photo theme, hey, go for it. It doesn't matter. There are a whole bunch of these themes. I will tell you that for some of them, they're not free, but you can see there's just a whole boatload of them. All right. So again, I'm going to just grab the one that says here portfolio, and I'm going to click on there. All right. Now it's actually gone in and created this thing for me. All right. Now I'm going to go back out. In fact, I'm going to go back out and do this all over again. So I'm going to go to File, Create New Site. All right. And what you'll notice is it automatically gives you a name for that site. All right. And I'm going to just change the name of that to My Portfolio. I'm going to recommend you don't put any blank spaces or anything in there. So I've got My Portfolio. I'm going to hit enter here. And now I'm going to choose Portfolio. All right. Okay. Now, when you come in, just so you know, this whole thing is separated into areas, and you can see that. All right. If you decide there's something in here that you do not want, it's pretty easy to get rid of it. What do I mean? Well, I'm going to keep this. Hi, and I'll change it to my name, etc. All right. And I'll keep the what can I do? Yeah. My work. Yeah, I'll keep that about me. Sure. But like this thing here with the prices doesn't make any sense to me to have that in there. So you'll notice that when you move down to here, anytime you go into a certain area, you get this little gearbox that comes up. So I'm going to go down to here, and right here, there's this little gearbox, and it says block parameters. Now, this is how I can add stuff to here and remove stuff from there. But if I click next to it on the 3 dots where it says show more, there's a garbage, remove block. It will ask you, are you sure you want to do that? Yes, I am. So I'll click OK. Now it's gone. All right. It has literally removed that. I don't want this one right here. So I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to click there. All right. I don't want to frequently asked questions. So I'm going to click there. OK. I'll leave most everything else in here that's here right now. All right. Now it appears, I'm going to look right here just to be sure. I'm going to click right here on a blank area, click right there. Then I'm going to go over to these block parameters. Now I want to see if I can change the color that's in here. So I'm going to go down to the bottom and where it says color, I'm just going to make it blue. And you notice that wasn't hard. It's pretty dark, so I'm going to make it a lot lighter. But I went in there now and I changed the background color. I want to do that again because I want you to see everything I'm doing in here. So I'm clicking right here, just clicking in a blank area, clicking on this gears right here, which brings up my block parameters. and I'm going to go over here to color, all right, and change it. All right, I can change it to whatever I would like. If you don't like the pre-done colors here, you can click the More button. And when you do that, you've got your choice. You can choose from over here, or you can put in your own hex code. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. For now, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to choose that, the kind of a grayish. Now, what else is up here? All right, we're going to look at these buttons up here in a little bit, but you'll notice this is what's known typically as your logo. Sometimes it's called your tag sign. All right, if I don't want what's here, okay, I can just click right off here to the side and start removing stuff. So if I put in here Jeff Scott, IT instructor, there. Now I've changed that. I can come in if I don't like that color, I can click on here, and if I wanted black, for example, now it's black. All right. Some of this stuff that's up here right now, I'm not going to show you until we get down to those portions, but the home, the my works, the about me, etc. Now, if you do choose this one right here, hey, that's fine. But of course, one of the first things you should do is change the picture. All right, I don't want you to use that particular picture. Now you'll notice what happened there is I clicked, and if I click on it again, it's going to let me change it. So in other words, these are handles. So if I want to, I can do all sorts of stuff. I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller. There's a bunch of aspect ratios and stuff in here. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to click on Browse Computer, and I'm going to see if I can find, in fact, I think what I'll do here, this is me and my granddaughter. All right. And I'll just choose that one. There we go. All right. So when you look in there, that's what you have to do. Now, again, if I thought that picture was too big, I could again just click on it again. And if I want, I can narrow it down. All right. Maybe I don't want my feet to show or whatever. I click OK, and I click OK again, and you can see what's happened. All right. Again, not to be funny, this stuff isn't rocket science. All right. So I can come in here now, and let's just say I decide that I want white writing in here. All right. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to change some of this. Okay. So I'm going to just I'll just say web design and programming. There we go. All right. Now, if you don't like the way that that is laid out, first of all, I'm going to click on any part in here. There's the M. I'm going to click and make that black as well. So you see how fast that happens. If I think this is too big or I don't like how it's laid out, all right, I can click on any of it right here and notice where it says Title 1. If I change it to Title 2, it gets smaller. All right. And if I think that's too small, I could make, etc. You get that idea. Again, if I still think that picture's too big, I can change the size. When you click inside of here under these block parameters, notice what it shows you. All right. Full screen, full width. Well, you can play with those, but notice here top and bottom. You'll notice I got a little bit of white space there. If I decide, for instance, at the top, I can move this over, and you can see exactly what's happening there. I am literally going and changing the amount of margin that I've got at the top of my screen. I can do the top, I can do the bottom, I can do whatever in here I want. All right, I can play with the image as well. You notice, so I can make that, I can play with it, etc. All right, I can reverse it. I'm not going to do that. I can decide I don't want to show a title. And if I click over here, the title goes away. If I click back on it, it comes back again. The same kind of thing with the text and with the buttons. So let's suppose here I don't want the buttons. All right, so I'm just going to click there. Now the buttons are gone. Now when I click here again, all right, if I click on here, If I don't want any of this text that's in here, all right, I can come in here. I have been teaching website design and development and programming for over 30 years. Please take a look at my portfolio, at this portfolio, and let me know what you think. You can reach me at jpscott@rankin.edu. All right. And if I think that's a little bit, not dark enough or whatever, I can change that. Notice right now it's gray on gray. So if I want that to be black as well, again, that's all I have to do. So now I've got this done. That's not great, but it's fine. All right. So what else can I do? Well, one thing about this is what's in here right now. These things that you see right here, these are predefined icons. So when I click on one of them, you can see what it brings up. All right. So, if I want to change, I'm just going to change each one of these. They won't really mean a lot, just so you can see it. All right. So right now it's a globe, and I'm going to change this. I don't know. Let's make it this information icon that's right here, and you can see how it changed. Well, let's take this one and let's make it the globe. All right. And now that one's changed. I can click on here and I can grab something else. That's supposed to be a database, I believe. So that's changed. All right. Now there probably is a way that you can come in here and where it says search, I'm sure you can go and find your own icons. All right. Why might I want to do that? I'm going to show you right now. And I don't even know if what I'm about to show you is going to work or not, but we're going to try it anyway. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to go out to Google Images. And I'm going to type in here C# logo. And there it is. So I'm going to right mouse click on this. I'm going to save the image as. I'm just going to throw it out onto my desktop. And I'm going to call it just what it is. C# logo.ping. All right, I'm going to grab a couple more of these, and I'm just going to grab it here. You won't probably want to use these, but it's okay. HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That one looks pretty good, so I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to save that image. And I'm just going to call it web.ping. And then finally, I'm going to put in here, because this is all the stuff that I teach. So MERNstack logo. All right, and that's pretty much, I can choose any of these. I'll just grab this one. Right, so I've now got those three. Again, this may not even work. I've never tried doing this before. So I'm going to click on here and I'm going to do a search. Oh, let's see, edit link, link icon to edit link. And I'm going to put it here. Let's see, page. No, I don't want to link to something. Icon color, icon size, search. I don't know. Maybe I only can put the ones that are in here. I don't know. You'll notice that these are the Mobirise icons. There's other ones down here. All right, it says Mobirise bold down here, and it's got Sociocon. I don't know what any of this stuff is. All right. And if you decide, well, I don't even like any of those, then don't use this. All right. And again, I may or may not have shown you, but if I don't like this color, just click on it. All right. If I come back here, let me close this. If I click on the block parameter there and I choose color, All right, so let's say that I wanted it to be this blue. There you go. That's all you have to do. All right. Now, I'm not going to go and change the text in here. I could put in web design programming, if I want to, as an example, I'll just change these. So programming, and we'll change this to burn stack development. But you hopefully get the idea. I could put anything that I wanted in here. All right. All right. So that's pretty much it for that. I don't know what this is even going to link to right now. So let's see. If I look right here, where is it linking to? It's linking to just Mobirise itself. Well, I don't want it to link there. That would be kind of dumb. Maybe I'll come back and change that later. Maybe I'll remove the link. Maybe I'll remove the button. All right. So I come down here and my works. All right. So these are examples of what I do. All right. Again, if I don't like that color on here, I just click on it, make it black, and boom. If I want it bigger, I could change the size, etc. You can go over here and I can change it. So to make it right justified, left justified, center justified, etc. All right. Now, one thing that I think you should do, and it's totally up to you, but try to make sure that if you're going to do something like this, all right, that you keep the pictures relatively, sorry about that. Didn't know that was on. You keep the pictures relatively the same size. And you'll want to do that. And the reason that you'll want to do that is it'll make it look more symmetrical. All right. So again, if I went out there, I could go out right now. I could go out to GitHub and I could, this is what I'll want you to do is to go out to GitHub or just run one of your programs. So for instance, if we looked at the program that we did the other day. So if I come out here, let's see, I should be able to come out here and do it here. All right. So this was that song search thing that we did. I'm just going to do one of these just so you can see what I'm talking about. So again, with this up, and it'll be up in a second, but with this up and running, all right, I'm going to go over to the program itself, all right, and just run it. All right, there it is. Okay, and you saw this because this is what we did the other day. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, show all songs by title is fine, and search, and there it is. So I'm going to hit print screen. Then I'm going to go into Microsoft Paint, paste this in, and it might seem like a lot of work, but believe me, after you do this a couple times, it isn't hard, and it doesn't take very much time. Copy that, paste, and I'll just call this, I don't know, song list. All right. So now I've got that. So now I can come back into here. Don't need that anymore. And bring back Mobirise, then click on this one and just say, browse my computer. There's song list. And there it is. Boom. And then I can come in here and I can change the same thing to, how about C# link program. All right. Then the other thing I'd want to do is after doing that, I'll want to click on here and I will want to link the image to, and I will want to link that out to GitHub. All right. So again, right now it's not linking anywhere, and I don't think I've got this one because this is one we did in class, but let me see if I can grab something else from out here. I'll just grab that just so that there's something out here. All right. and I will click on there and then click on this, and where it says edit link. All right. Right now, let's see, page web address. And I will put in that. All right, which is that GitHub. Click insert and click OK. Now, what you're going to see in a few minutes is when I run this, this should go out to GitHub. And you do similar things in here. I'd ask that you put like 4 or so in here. I think if you click on the block parameters, let's see. Notice with columns, there's 4. You can have 4, 3, 2, or 1. All right, you want to put at least 3 in there if you want, if you want to put only 3, that's fine. All right. Then again, for this about me, all I want to do here is change that again to black. All right. And I'm not going to change this. But again, if I decide I don't like the image that's here, which I wouldn't want that. All right. So again, I can come back in here. I can edit the link or I can do whatever. All right. In fact, let's just do this. If I let's assume for a second I don't want a picture in there at all. So I can click over to here on block parameters and where they have image right there. Let's see, hide title, text, description. Maybe they don't let you. Some of these, since we're using built-in stuff, some of it won't let you remove. All right, text title. It looks like it. I have to. Okay, looks like I'm going to have to leave that in there. So I'd have to replace that with an image of my own. All right. What your clients say, what I could put in here, for example, what students say, I don't know. I don't really need that either. So I'm going to get rid of that one. All right. This is what you're going to want to do, though. You will want to have a contact me form in here. This actually, to my knowledge, this is a working form. All right. So again, I will come in here and make it black because I've had everything else pretty much black. All right. And send message. You can put something else here if you'd rather, rather have a different image, or again, I'm going to see if it'll let me remove the image, and it looks like it won't. All right. And then finally, I've got this. This is a little quirky, but if I do click on here, all right, and I click the link, you can see what it has in there right now. It's linking to that. So you could put your own phone number in there if you wanted to. You could put virtually anything in there you wanted. I'm going to remove the link and then just put in here my phone number. Usually if you remove it like that and then click, now I should be able to remove everything that's in here. All right, so there's the phone. I can do the same thing here. I'm going to remove the link just because it makes it easier to work with when you do that. Now, I don't know if I come back in here. There's probably a way I could go back and even re-add the link, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. All right, I'm going to come in here. And I'll just leave the working hours the way it is. This is right down here is the footer area. All right, it's the bottom of your page. This is known as the header up here. This is known as the footer down here. All right, I can come in and make a few changes in here. For instance, if I didn't like the color, I don't know if I'd want to make it white because it would bleed right into what was above it, but I think I can go in there and change that if I want to. All right, if I do that, then I'm going to want to change the color of my text and make that black so that you can see it. Again, there's all sorts of stuff I can just click in here and I can change this. So I probably wouldn't want it to say Mobirise. I probably want it to say my name. All right, now that was quick, but I just want to show you with what we've done so far. All right, so all I have to do now is click this eye here that says preview in browser, and it's going to show me the way it currently looks. And there it is. All right, so you can see all the stuff that I put in here, etc. All right, now I don't know. I think there's a way you can remove this, but I don't remember what it is. Because a lot of people, well, geez, it says created with Mobirise. You may or may not be able to remove that. All right, I'm not sure. I noticed on my contacts, I wanted that to be black. Other than that, and of course I would change that picture. But other than that, it looks okay. It by no means is it fantastic, but it looks okay. My works, there's my works, about me, gets me there. There is no pricing, so I'm going to change that in a minute. There's no pricing. And contacts does get to contact me. All right. And, so I can come back out here now. I'm going to close this and go back here and just quickly change this. I'm going to make that black. All right. And where I've got contacts right now, I want to see what that link says. And it says form 46. All right, why do I care? Because I'm going to change this to contact me. All right, I'm going to click on here and I'm going to find the one on the page I'm on. All right, that says form 46. Click insert link. Now I don't want that button there anymore, so I click up here and I tell it to remove the button. There you go. So I'm going to click on this again, and just to make sure everything works. So contact me, there you go. About me, my work, and home. So you can see, hopefully, how easy that all was to throw all that stuff in there. All right. I didn't mean to do it slow or fast, but probably it took me about 15 minutes. And I am very forgiving when you do the first one, especially if this is your first class, because you haven't been introduced to the idea of designing a web page or anything else. But that said, you are still going to be responsible for putting in that material that we talked about that's supposed to be in here. So let's take just a moment and look at that. So again, you must publish your portfolio to GitHub Pages. I'm going to show you that in just a moment and provide me an invite. That's 10 points. At a minimum, you should have a home page. I put everything on one page. So the home is basically the top. You saw that was, I called it about me. I didn't put in a resume. All right. But just one of the things before that we were going to remove, just put a resume in there. It's no biggie. All right. Portfolio, I got my work and I've got the contact. So I could try to come back here and let's see, then maybe after my work, maybe right here, I want to click this plus sign. Well, and what does it say? Well, let's see. It says drag a block onto the page. So if I decided I wanted to put something there that wasn't there, all right, you can see what's all here. So if I click features, that's the stuff I can put out there. If I click article, all right, etc., that's the kind of stuff I can put out there. So if I choose this one right here, all right, and I decide that I want to put that out there, what just happened? Anything? Let's look. All right. So yes, I put it in the wrong area, but I put it in there twice. So there it is. So I could throw my resume in there if I wanted to. I don't like where this is, so I'm just going to remove it. And I got another one here. I don't like where that is, so I'm going to remove it. All right. But all I'm trying to get across to you is, like, if I come in here by the about me here, right there, and I click plus. All right. And I find, again, it was that article. I'm going to literally take it and drag it right underneath where it says about me, and let go. All right. Now what happened? It's easiest to show you. So I'll click over to here. There's the about me, and there's that enter your article. So I could have in here my resume. All right. I could take a picture of the resume. I could put the resume in there. However you would like to do this. Again, as always, it's up to you. All right. I can grab this stuff that's in here. I can bold it and or italicize it, etc. All right. That's probably enough to at least get you going. All right. So what I'm going to do now, the next thing I'm going to show you is probably the most important thing. It isn't hard, but I want to make sure you see this. All right. So let's assume right now that everything is looking exactly the way I want it to look. All right. And I know it's not, but you get the idea. I'm just pretending for right now. Everything looks great. It looks exactly the way I want it to look. So then the next thing that you want to do is you want to publish this. But before you do, what you need to do is you need to come out onto your desktop or wherever you are going to save this. For me, it'll be the desktop. And you right mouse click and choose a folder in here, create a folder. Now I may have one already called portfolio. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to type in portfolio and see if it gives me an error. So portfolio, yeah, it says I already have one. So let's see if I can find that. Do it like this. There's the portfolio. So I'm just going to grab it and just throw it into another folder for right now. There, throw it in there. There we go. So now I should be able to come in here and create a new folder that's called portfolio. All right. Portfolio. There it is. All right. Why did I go to the trouble of showing you that? Because the next step is very important. So I come in here. I've already gone through and shown you that if you click on the eye, it shows you how it will look, etc. All right. One thing I'm going to do quickly, I'm going to come back into here, click on block parameters. Here. Well, what I wanted to do is I don't like the fact that that's gray and all the other stuff is tan. So I was going to go back and change the color here. But I probably couldn't find the one I was looking for anyway. So that's fine. So click publish. And it says, how do you want to publish this? You want to make sure that you've chosen local drive folder right there. And then you have to tell it where you want it to go. So I'm going to click browse and I'm going to find that folder on my desktop that's called portfolio. All right. And I'm going to click select folder. All right. And then click publish. Literally, it'll take about 15, not even 5 seconds. It's there. It's all been published. How do I know that? Well, now what I can do is I can go to my portfolio folder that's right here, double click on it, and double click on the index.html file, and lo and behold, that's where it is. Now, what I'm going to tell you next is really, really, really important. All right. This is a quirky product. I like it because it's free. I like it because it's fairly intuitive. I don't like it because it's made by people, I can't remember if it's Finland or Denmark, but it's made by people in another country. That I could care less about, except when you have problems and you try to contact their help. Good luck to you. And what I'm getting to is, let's pretend for a second that I decide, oh, I made a mistake. I don't know, I spelled something wrong in here. If that happens, you go back into Mobirise and you fix it. All right. After you fix it, remove this folder totally. Just get rid of it and then recreate it again. Sometimes it even acts funky. I mean, I've had it already where if I do this, I have to call my next one portfolio 2, for example. And I don't know why that even is. But again, that has happened before. All right. So now I've got all of that stuff done. Well, that's a great start. All right. So what do we want to do next? Well, the next step then is, or what we want to do next is we want to take this thing and we want to put it out onto GitHub pages. So that's what we're going to take a look at doing literally right now. I don't know if we'll get this done before our break or not, but either way, it's okay. Now, in order to do this, so the plan is what we want to eventually do is we want to be able to go out to github.com. All right. And when you go out to github.com and you start perusing your way through here, which you may or may not have done before, eventually what we want to be able to do is we're going to want to be able to come in here and have this show something down in here, which is going to show GitHub pages. All right. And once we go and basically click on that, we'll just have a URL. All right. And if you go, I don't get it, that's what we're talking about right now. All right. So let's go through the steps. I want to start by telling you this, that what I'm following here is a guy that I follow online named Brad Traversy. And even though this is 4 years old, it still seemed to work just fine. So I Googled and I went out to youtube.com, and in the search box, I typed in Brad Traversy GitHub pages. And you can see he's got this GitHub pages, deploy, and domain. All right. Now you look at that and you go, well, geez, that's like 20 some minutes. You only have to watch about the first 9 minutes. After that, he does stuff that really isn't relevant to where we are in this class right now. I'm not going to go through a lick as far as what's in there. You can watch that yourselves. If you decide you don't want to watch it all, well, then you can try to follow the steps that I'm about to give you. All right. But if you have any trouble, all I wanted to show you is this is where you're going to want to go then. All right. So if I click on here, all right, that's Brad right there. Like I said, it's 21 minutes and 24 seconds, but you only have to watch, I think it's about the first 9 minutes, something like that. All right. And then you should be fine. All right. So let's just go through the steps. Now, with some of the steps, you are going to have to download one more piece of software. It is not a big piece of software. It does not take much time at all to download it. All right. I am not going to download it because I already have it on my computer, but I want to show you all the steps in here that you'll have to do. The first thing I'm going to recommend that you do, the first thing is, hey, if you've got this here and it works and you're happy with it, well, immediately make a copy and work with the copy. Why? Just in case you happen to screw it up, you can go back to it. So I've got a portfolio. I don't want to call this portfolio copy. I'm just going to call this my portfolio, like that. So I've got a portfolio and I've got a my portfolio. They are identical right now. I'm going to work with the my portfolio. All right. So the first thing I want you to do, and I'm going to show you all these, but I'm going to make the URL nice and big so you can see everything I'm doing. And that is, I want you to go out to something that's called nodejs.org. If it looks like this, that's good. So let's grab that. Like I said, every single URL that I give you, I want to make it nice and big so you can see everything that I'm trying to show you in here. All right. So let's see. Why is this doing this? There it is. All right. So with all that in there, you don't need most of this. You only need this. So if you go out to nodejs.org, Node is a software package. It's actually an extension of JavaScript, which is what you'll learn next semester. And then the Node thing you will learn in the semester after that. All right. So it's nodejs.org. If you go out to nodejs.org, you'll get out to here. All right. You don't have to know anything about what's going on here. And I mean this, you need to know nothing. There are two downloads you can make, this one or this one. I recommend that everybody always uses this one. LTS means long-term support. That means it's been around for a while and it's been tested. If you grab this one, occasionally they put new features in there that they're still testing, and it can end up breaking whatever it is you're working with. So again, all you have to do is click on this. I'm not going to do it because again, I've already got it on here. I've got an earlier version. My version is like 16.17.0 or something like that. And not only that, this changes pretty often. If you do this in a month or in 2 weeks or whatever, it might be 18.12.4 or something like that. It's no big thing at all. But you just click on there. If you're using Chrome, then down in the lower left-hand portion of your screen, right there, it'll show you that it's downloading. And then just right mouse click on it and choose open when done, and then just run through all of the defaults. That's literally all you have to do. All right, then how do you know whether or not it worked, etc.? Well, if I go back out here and I can just be on my home in my desktop here, I'm going to right mouse click here and I'm going to choose my Git Bash here. You've seen me do this and you've done this probably yourselves as well. All right, and I'm going to make that bigger so you can read it. And then all you have to do to make sure that it worked is type in npm, node -v. And if it comes up and it gives you a number, again, yours will be 18.12.0 because you'll have a newer version than me, minus 16.17.0. As long as you get a number and you don't get an error message, you're good to go. All right, that's all you have to worry about. All right, now what's next is a little funky, but it's not hard. I just want to show you what we're going to do next. All right, so I want you to come in here like this, and I want you to open up then the My Portfolio that we just created. All right, and then I want you to come in here and make a new folder. Historically, that new folder is called DIST. That'll be your distribution folder in just a bit. So you make a folder called DIST like that. Then you take the rest of the stuff that you had in here and you move it into that DIST folder. Now, are there other ways of doing this other than what I'm showing you? My guess is, yeah, I would almost be willing to bet you, yes. I'm showing you a way that I know works. All right, that's what matters to me. All right. Now, inside of this, of the My Portfolio that we've got right here, so inside of this, all right, in My Portfolio, so I'll do here a CD to My Portfolio. All right, and I'm going to open it up with Visual Studio Code. If you say I don't know what that is, just type in here code. You probably won't have that on your machine. Trying to figure out the fastest way for you to be able to do this. You can actually do it then from right here. So if you're at the My Portfolio, that's right here, that's fine. If you're there, then just type in the following: npm init -y. All right. I could literally spend an hour explaining this command to you. Let me just tell you quickly what it's doing. All right. Node is going out to a special part of Node. It's kind of like a humongous grocery store that has all sorts of stuff in it that you can use. It's called the Node Package Manager, and that's the NPM. All right. So what you're telling it to do is to initialize the Node Package Manager by putting that -y on the end, like I'm showing you here, by putting that -y on the end. That says, I don't want to go and fill in all the stuff, use all the defaults. So you do that and you hit enter and it creates this file for you automatically. This file right here, everything that you see in here, that's what it just created. Again, do I have to worry about this? Well, you're going to have to make a couple changes to it, and I'm going to show you what those changes are in just a second. All right, so we're going to make some changes to that in just a second. Now, the next thing then that you have to do, all right, is I can clear the screen by typing clear. All right, but I want you then to type in another npm command, npm. Now we're going to bring GitHub pages in, gh-pages. That says to go out to the node package manager and install gh for GitHub pages. So what that's going to do is it's going to make GitHub pages available to my program. That's all it's doing. All right, so I hit enter. Looks a little weird because some weird stuff will show on the screen, etc. But they didn't even do that. That's how fast it was. All right. Now, how do I even know? How do I even know that GitHub Pages is now on my machine? Well, you have to go and you have to open up this file in here. This is the one that got created, package.json. That's the file that got created when we typed npm init -y. So I'm going to open that up. And my hope is that you've either used Notepad or Notepad++, for example, sometime in your life. All right. If you really have problems with that, let me know. So this is the file that got created. This is what we just added when we typed in npm space I space gh pages. It brought that into our program. It brought that into our program. All right. So what do we have to do in here then? We have to make two changes. They're not hard. I'll walk you through them right now. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to come in and let's see. This line here that says test, this makes no sense to what we're doing. We're going to replace this line. So you can highlight it and just hit delete and then type in this. And this must be in double quotes. Deploy, followed by a colon, and then again in double quotes, gh dash pages, so that's GitHub pages, -d, and then where did we put this? Well, remember, we called it my portfolio. So that's the first thing that we want to do. We want to replace that line that said test, I think it was, with this. Deploy in double quotes, then a colon, then again in double quotes, gh dash pages space -d space my portfolio. And this should be the name of that folder. You say, well, what about that dist? We'll use that later. Don't worry about that. All right. Okay. So right now, everything, hopefully at least, is kind of fine and dandy. It's all working. We got to add one more line into here. But before we do, let's go out to GitHub and let's make a new repository that's called my portfolio. All right, mine's available. I'll make it public. I could care less. All right, and then just click create repository. All right, so now I have my portfolio out here. That's good. That's what I wanted. All right, and I've got this line, this get remote. You've seen me work with that before. I'm just going to leave this alone for right now, and I'm going to go back to where I just was in here. All right, now, okay, now we've gone in here. We've done a couple things, but we want to add one more line of code right after where I've got the cursor. So right there, I want you to go in and add in this line of code. All right. So it should be that get remote add origin line. So let's go back and grab that line right here. Get remote add origin right there. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. All right. And I'm going to put it here. Now, let's see. I want to make sure I want to make sure I'm not screwing anything up. So just bear with me for a second, if you would, please. Well, I've got to look for a file, so I'll tell you what, let's take 10 minutes. We'll still be done. We'll come back at 9:15 and we should be able to finish this up by 9:30. But I want to, like I said, I think I know what the command is, but I want to double check it because I've got it in here already in a different file. So like I said, let's take 13 minutes. We'll come back at 9:15 and then finish this up. Thanks. All right, it's 9:15, so I'm going to continue on. What I will try to do is to write down every one of these steps in detail and add that as a file with this presentation, all right? So I'll put that out there a little bit later today. I did make a mistake in this deploy line that you have right here. Make sure that says dist. It shouldn't say my portfolio there. It should say dist. All right. Then come down and under the line here that says license, right there after that comma, hit enter and add in this line. Now, couple things. First of all, you won't put JP Scott. That's going to be your GitHub ID. So Grant, if yours is Grant, let's just say you'd put Grant right there, or Grant Rankin or Grant D Rankin or something like that. All right. But it should be homepage.
Professor, you're not screen sharing
Thank
after
you.
the break.
Thank you. All right, so what I'd said was back in this line, this deploy line in line 7, that should say dist here and not my portfolio. That was my error. All right, but then down here after line 11, you don't have this line 12, so hit enter and put in this line right here. I'm assuming you call that folder my portfolio. Of course, if you were to have called it something else, you would change that from my portfolio. And again, this should be your GitHub ID in there. And like I said, I will try to write out all these steps and put them in a simple text file. All right, and add that along with the email that I'll send out after today's class. So this should be all we need in here. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to close this file. All right. Now, one more thing that you want to do in here, and it's sort of I mean, none of this stuff is really hard, but it's a little quirky as far as what you have to do in here. All right. Now, I just want you to see this, and I realize it probably won't show very well on screen, but if I right mouse click on this folder that's called node modules, and I do properties, it says that it's 2.6 meg in size. And actually the size on the disk is 4.25 meg. All right. If I look at the rest of my program, if I look at everything else, it's unbelievably small. What we don't want is for anybody who downloads our resume or looks at it online, or I should say our portfolio online, they don't need this node modules folder in here. So what do? So it's like I said, I think at least it's relatively simple. We come in here, we click in an empty area, we right mouse click, we choose new, and you choose in here text document. We want to create a brand new file in here. It's not going to have any extension on it, and it's going to start with a period. We need to say period, git, ignore. And what we're saying is we want GitHub to ignore the instance of anything that goes into this file. So period or dot, as it's normally referred to, dot git ignore. Just like that. Says, hey, you're about to get rid of that extension. Is that okay? Yes, it is. Then all you have to do is open up that file. Again, I'll just open it up here and then type in there that folder, node_modules. That's all that has to be put in there. That literally is everything that has to be put in that file. So I'm going to do a file save, and I'm going to close that file. All right. So now what I've got in here is I've got that dist folder, and that dist folder is under my portfolio. All right. And it's got all of my stuff in it, except for the stuff that we had to add using that git stuff. All right. So believe it or not, we're almost finished. Let's see if we can get it to work now. So with where I am right now, I'm going to I probably have it open already, but I'm just going to close all these things because I don't know what's open, what's closed in here, etc. So I'm just closing all this. All right, and I'm going to reopen. So in here, I'm going to do a git bash here, and I'm inside of my portfolio right now. I'm not in dist or anything else. I'm in my portfolio. All right, and I'm going to come in. You've done this plenty of times this semester. I'm going to do a git init. There's my .git file in there. I'm going to do a git add dot, and I'm going to do a git commit -m. All right, and I'm just going to say here adding portfolio to GitHub pages. You know, again, something like that. All right. So go ahead and hit enter again. And now, and you've seen me do this, you've done it plenty of times yourselves. I'm going to do my git push -u origin. And again, I say master, you may have to say main, whatever you typically put in there. So I've now pushed that. Oh, what doesn't it like? Git push origin does not appear to be a Git repository. That's not good. Oh, let's look. Oh, remember before I told you that we should grab that line? I didn't put that in there. So let me copy that line. It's no problem. Let's paste it in here. Hit enter. I can verify that it worked with a git remote -v. There it is. And now, hopefully, my git push origin master will work. There it goes. It looks like it's all done. Let's double check. Okay. And I will double check by going back into GitHub, refreshing the page. And there it is. You've seen all this before. There's nothing new right there. All right. Now, almost done, but I'm going to come back into here, into my git bash here. I'm going to clear the screen so you can see what I'm doing. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in npm run deploy. I'm telling it to deploy that line that I put into that package.json file earlier. All right, hopefully I don't get an error when I do this. Of course I do. Wouldn't have been this time without that. So let's see. Unexpected string at position. So let's see if we can find out what that is. Note package.json must be actual JSON, not just JavaScript. It is. Gravy. Of course, you can probably guess that I have already done this once and it worked just fine. See if we can figure out what that is. It may be something as simple as the fact that I had these were in different cases. I don't know. It's correct to me. I don't know if that'll fix it or not. I'm going to try it again. So let's see. Never seen the error before. So package.json must be actual JSON, not just JavaScript. All right. It might be that I forgot a comma there. This stuff is really quirky. I'm just telling you right now. So let's see. And that was it. I didn't have a comma at the end of the line. There, now it's been published. Okay, good. All right. Now I'm going to go back into GitHub pages. I'm sorry, into GitHub right there. All right. So let's see. Well, hopefully you notice that down here now it's got a thing here that says GH pages. That should mean that this worked. All right. But unfortunately, you got to do a little bit of finagling to see whether or not it works. So I'm going to go over here to settings. All right. And somewhere down here now, this is where it's different from the thing I had you bring up from Brad Traversy, because it has changed since then. There, and under environment, see where it says GitHub pages right here. Hopefully you can see that if I click. All right, so let's see. I'm going to click where it says view deployment, and there it is. I'm out on GitHub pages at jpscott.github.io/myportfolio. Now, did that go as planned? Of course not. Nothing ever does. All right. But again, I will try to write down every single step. And if necessary, towards the end of the semester, we can do this again. All right. So, and anybody who tries doing it after I send out the email with all the steps written down, but anybody who tries it, if it doesn't work, all right, if you get errors or whatever, take a screenshot, let me know what the error was. We'll work through it together and do the best we can to get it to work. All right. So every day, you always get these, you get an email like this one. All right. That gives you the link if you want to join and what we're going to be going over. Then later, you get another email that's got the link for the presentation that was done. So on that second email, what I'm going to add again will be all of the steps that we went through in order to do this. All right. Now that was a lot to throw at you. Maybe you went through it with me, maybe you did not. And I had a couple of issues because I forgot that comma. All right. But at least with you, Grant, any questions?
Not in the moment, no.
Okay. So like I said, with all of you, this is going to be due the last day of the semester is the 15th. It's a month from tomorrow. I'm going to ask that you turn this in by the 14th, just in case there's any problems with it, if I can't read it or whatever, that gives us a day to try to rectify those problems. All right, so this isn't going away, and it's worth 150 points. So in other words, it's worth the equivalent of 1.5 tests. All right. So again, when you get your second email from me a little bit later today, it'll have every step on here that you're supposed to go through. There's about 15 or so, something like that. All right. Other than that, again, please read chapter 20 for tomorrow. We'll start up right at 8:05. I will see you then. Thanks.